Vietnam, Australia signed 12 important cooperation documents.
Kremlin stated the conditions for Russia to use nuclear weapons.
2 terrorist organizations in Vietnam announced.
You're watching today's news on NTV channel. My name is Ha Giang, your host. On the morning of March the 7th in Canberra, Australia, Vietnamese Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese reached an agreement to upgrade the bilateral relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership. The leaders of the two countries also witnessed the handing over of 12 important cooperation documents in various fields between the two countries.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese expressed his joy that the two countries are important partners of each other, sharing a common vision, goals and expectations for the future. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh affirmed that the two countries would coordinate closely in terms of diplomacy, economics, agriculture, science and technology, digital transformation, green transformation, education and action programs to deal with climate change. It is known that bilateral trade in 2022 reached 25.7 billion Australian dollars, an increase of 75% compared to 2020, making Vietnam to be the 12th largest trading partner of Australia. In the coming time, Australia will firmly strengthen economic relations with Vietnam and promote investment between the two countries.
This morning, the Second National Conference on the Implementation of Laws and Resolutions of the 15th National Assembly, under the chairman of the National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ.
9 new laws and 10 resolutions that have been recently passed by the National Assembly address issues such as land, housing, real estate business, telecommunications, credit institutions, a number of specific mechanisms and policies to implement national target programs, socio-economic development plans, state budget estimates, medium-term public investment plans. The above meaningful contents are not only very important for the implementation of the 2024 Socio-Economic Development Plan but also for the sustainable development of the country in the new period.
Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov recently affirmed that Russia would not only use its nuclear arsenal unless the country's existence is threatened.
Accordingly, Russia will respond with nuclear weapons if it or its allies suffer the first attack. Previously, President Putin had noted that Western officials were essentially opening up a full-scale nuclear war with increasingly escalating rhetoric. The Russian leader rejected as baseless Western media reports that Moscow was planning to deploy nuclear weapons into space. He considers this as a way the US uses to put Russia under pressure to sit at the negotiating table with the terms offered by Washington.
Coming up next are some updated news.
The Korean Ministry of Health said it has filed a criminal complaint with the police against a number of trainee doctors participating in a major strike that greatly affected surgical support and other healthcare services at major general hospitals in this country. Meanwhile, the government is considering implementing an administrative penalty mechanism for about 7,000 trainee doctors who have not yet returned to work as the request of the government and authorities. Up to now, the collective quitting action has entered its third week.
The Ministry of Public Security of Vietnam has just reported 2 organizations called Montagnard Support Group and Montagnards for Justice as 2 terrorist organizations demanding self-rule and secession. Anyone who participates in, propagates or entices others to participate, or any individual or organization sponsoring or receiving funding for the 2 groups mentioned above will be considered guilty of terrorism, funding terrorism, and will be handled according to the provisions of law.
On the occasion of International Women's Day, March 8th, this year, many people still choose fresh flowers as gifts. Customers not only buy flowers in person but also order them online. Due to increasing demand, flower prices during the day are slightly high compared to normal days. As for roses, the price is currently halved compared to the same time last year but still twice as high as last month. Domestic and foreign rose varieties grown in Đà Lạt cost from 12,000 Vietnamese dongs to 30,000 Vietnamese dongs per bud. Meanwhile, roses imported from Ecuador cost 80,000 Vietnamese dongs per bud. In addition to traditional fresh flowers, flowers made from wax, silk, wool or velvet are also chosen by some flower shops to sell to meet customer needs.
Facing with unpredictable market fluctuations and rising raw material prices, Nghệ An-based businesses are also focusing on solutions to solve problems and balance investment to ensure sustainable production and business.
Fluctuations in export markets caused by the Russia-Ukraine war and tensions in the Red Sea continue to affect industrial production sectors. Rising prices of input raw materials and logistics costs have resulted in challenging production expenditure. Proactively sourcing raw materials, maintaining production, and keeping product market share are always the top priorities at this time. Policies on taxes, low-interest loans and trade promotion are being paid much attention by the enterprises.
We must be proactive about raw material sources early to be able to adapt the situation. It's time to consider the issue of organic product production. We have organized conferences for businesses to meet trade counselors, to improve knowledge about integration as well as FTA regulations.
The increase in the number of newly established businesses or businesses returning to the market as well as the increasing orders from clients are good signs of the local economy and the prosperity of production in the first months of the year. However, difficulties still exist if businesses do not focus on adapting and maintaining production to ensure sustainability and achieve annual plan goals.
It's time to say goodbye. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.